Hi, I'm Coach Landry, and the topic is 7 signs that you've found the one. So, in a lot of relationships, you bump into people who you're very keen about and you have a very strong interest level in. But what are indicators from a scientific background, a research standpoint that actually say you're actually compatible and that's why you're into a person so much? Research on love and relationships provides a scientific basis for, differentiating between love and interpersonal emotions that don't predict lasting relationships. So consider these 7 things that help you clarify whether you've actually found someone you actually have a long-term potential with. Number 1, if you find yourself saying we more than I, language is a secret window into how we perceive, yourself in relation to others. What words do you use? What words do your partner use? People who are close use plural words like we more frequently in conversation than singular pronouns like I and whatnot. The kinds of feelings that suggest love are likely accompanied by the tendency to use plural pronouns. So just remember that if you find yourself using plural a lot, it means that you're moving into a new level of your relationship with that person. Number 2, you're ready to make sacrifices for the other person. This is really important. What this means is, if love is in the air, sacrifice is too, then obviously, right? Individuals who gauge in costly commitment signals are more oriented towards long-term relationships with their partner. Costly commitment signals are pro-relationship behaviors that require substantial sacrifice. So driving a partner to an apartment or giving a gift, engaging in costly commitments are healthy for relationships, while the absence of these behaviors can damage the long-term stability if that's not where you're headed. So look for, non-committal sacrifice moments if you feel like it's not going anywhere. And remember, when we're talking about this, we're talking about 3 to 4 months into a relationship. We're not talking when you first meet somebody. All relationships take time to get comfortable before you'll start showing sacrifice. Number 3, you can't stop looking at his or her face. Whether it be a picture, whether you thinking about them, whether you have an IM or on their Facebook and you just bring it up just to look at them and see what they're doing. An eye gaze is a surprising indicator of romantic intentions. Differentiating between lust and love. A recent study I read revealed that in a context of love, visual attention is primarily directed towards the face, more so than even body parts for men or women. So if you find yourself looking at their lips, looking at their eyes, it goes to show that you literally are starting to become attached to the idea of how they look. Number 4, you don't mind the idea of dependency. People who are in love and are going through the emotions are taught too much from a society standpoint. Especially women, you should never lean on a man. That is a falsehood, and you should never pay attention to people who say that. That reeks of insecurity and damaged past. You should always lean on somebody that you trust and you love. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. So people like to be in charge of their lives, and depending on someone else can be an uncomfortable proposition. Plus, people aren't always thrilled to have others depend on them. However, evidence shows that people who are highly motivated to increase closeness, like those who are in love, no longer hold negative views of dependency. And that's a study that can't be denied. Okay. Number 5, you can't get enough of the person. That seems self-explanatory. There's a lot of research that shows that much like a drug addiction, because intense love activates the brain's reward system in ways quite similar to addictive substances, that'll tell you a lot. Your brain doesn't start doing that until you start falling for somebody. It doesn't mean you should worry about it like if you're taking drugs, so don't get caught up in that idea. But know that it's very common to feel that way when you've actually gone to that step. Number 6, you keep noticing how similar you are to this person. This is a huge compatibility thing. It means your core is starting to attach to their core. The idea that the opposites attract is compelling, but fundamentally, only 5% of opposite attract relationships withstand the test of time. That said, opposites do tend to attract for short-term flings, and they make for good friends, but suggesting that there's a great deal of appeal in the exotic or indifferent. Although this appeal may not sustain a relationship, your relationship is headed toward long-term love. You and your partner will likely be a lot more similar than you'll ever be different. Number 7, you're physically attracted to the person. This is the most important out of all of 7 things that I've mentioned. When you walk into a restaurant to meet them for a date, you should know within 15 minutes your attraction level to them. Some people might argue that love isn't about sexual attraction. Wrong. Biology rules first, Mental state rules second. Always remember that. When you walk in, the first thing you're going to do is perceive a man or a woman up and down. You're going to take them in like a tall drink of water, as they say, and you're going to make a mental decision on whether you think you would ever sleep with them. Believe it subconsciously. Studies show what happens within 5 to 15 minutes of knowing somebody. Sex is a mechanism that keeps couples together, no doubt. Don't be ashamed of your sexualness. When you feel it with somebody, enjoy the dynamic. It doesn't come along with everybody you're going to meet. You know, love doesn't look the same for every person, but those trends depict some scientific evidence that suggests many people experience different things. But distinguishing between emotions that reflect passion versus the kind of love that love creates is foundational. So take these things and remember the things I've mentioned create a foundation for a long-lasting relationship, whereas the other kind of, you know, fun and going like that create good experiences, which, you know, you need those two in your life. But pay attention to these 7 things. I will recap them. Number 1, you find yourself saying we more than I. Number 2, you're ready to make sacrifices for the person. Number 3, you can't stop looking at his or her face. Number 4, you don't mind the idea of dependency. Number 5, you can't get enough of the person. Number 6, you keep noticing how similar you are to the person. And number 7, you're physically attracted to the person. If any of this information was helpful to you and you'd like to book a personal session, contact me via the email below. And if you found this information helpful, also show your appreciation by clicking the PayPal donation button. And I will talk to you soon.